Welcome back. The National Sea Rescue Institute is urging swimmers to be cautious. This as drowning incidents tend to spike during the holiday season. Let's talk to the organisation's spokesperson, Craig Lambinon, who joins us from Cape Town. Craig, we know each year around the festive season people drown in lakes, dams, rivers and the ocean while on holiday. It's still early on in the season, but many people have already reached their holiday destinations. Have we seen any drownings as yet?
Yes, at this stage, there have been a number of boating accidents. A number of people have got into difficulty, but all have been rescued up until now. And we are obviously appealing to the public to only go to beaches where and when the lifeguards are on duty, obey the instructions of the lifeguards, swim within the safe demarcated swimming zones that they post using their red and yellow flags. They will move those regularly during the day when they detect rip currents forming. Because rip currents form at different places constantly throughout the day. And then we obviously ask the public to move with the flag, the new designated safety zone that the lifeguards post. And we're also asking parents to make sure that their children have responsible adult supervision around all water, coastal waters, inland waters, and even your swimming pool at home, which should have a cloak of safety around it. We've gone so far as to develop an ID monitor. You can get it on our webpage at www.nsri.org.za, and we've asked people to have a physical monitor watching children in the water while they're swimming for up to half-an-hour intervals each, and to wear that monitor around their neck and not to be distracted, that they are the dedicated person monitoring the children while they're in the water, not distracted by cell phone conversation or by just general conversation around the braai, around the pool, but to physically be watching the children. Drowning is a silent affair. When a child drowns, they simply slip underwater, slide underwater, without even having the chance to call for help or to splash around.
Craig, I'm going to jump in there because I'm glad you mentioned adult supervision. Something quite alarming is the number of adults who place older siblings in the very big responsibility of supervising their younger siblings while swimming. What would you say to parents who think that a 12-year-old or perhaps even someone younger is capable of supervising younger children swimming?
So that is correct, and we are appealing to the public that it must be a responsible adult, meaning at least 16 years and older, that's physically watching children while they're swimming. Obviously, if you're at the beach, if you are at a beach where lifeguards are on duty, they are physically watching the water. The lifeguards are constantly looking out for when people might appear to be getting into difficulty, and then they'll intervene. And that's an intervention rescue, and they literally do hundreds of those every day around the coastline. We have also asked boaters, paddlers, sailboarders to download and use the NSRI RSA Safe Tracks app. You can find that on our webpage. It's for free, and that tells us immediately when you use that on your smartphone and log in our emergency operations center, which is run 24 hours. They can physically see the people on the water. They're able to monitor their progress. If the person gets into difficulty, you simply press a button on your phone. It tells us exactly where you are and that you've got an emergency. We've coined that phrase. It takes the search out of search and rescue, because we now know exactly where you are. We don't have to send a lot of resources to come and look for you.
Craig, there are a number of contributing factors to the number of drownings. Visiting unfamiliar bodies of water, increased summer temperatures also mean that more people head into the water. And of course, this year, record rainfall has caused dam and river levels to rise in many parts of the country. What do you think will be the biggest contributor to drownings this December, or to incidents where people find themselves in trouble?
So unfortunately, rip currents remain the greatest cause of drownings around our coastline. If you're caught in a rip current, don't panic. Use the air in your lungs to stay afloat. Tread water to keep your head above water. As difficult as this sounds, let the current take you out to sea. Don't try to swim against the current. It'll only tire you out. Obviously call out for help, but at your first opportunity, swim parallel or across the beachfront until you're free of the rip current, and then use the incoming waves to get back to shore. But we are appealing to people, if you're going to swim in rivers, lakes or dams, rather have a floating object with you while you're in the water, rather than just going for a swim, because that could save your life.
Craig, obviously it's also, we talk about children drowning and adult supervision, but it's not just children who find themselves in difficult situations. What would you say to adults about effectively gauging their level of competency in the water?
So obviously don't go swimming in the sea unless you are a competent swimmer, or don't go too deep into the water. The same goes for rivers, lakes and dams, even your swimming pool at home. It does, unfortunately, adults do get into difficulty in the water, but we encourage people not to drink alcohol if they're going to go swimming. That subdues your senses. Alcohol and water don't mix. Rather have your senses about you while you're in the water, and we're appealing to everybody to have safety conscious mindset while they're in and around water. And we are obviously wishing everybody a safe holiday season, and our goal, the NSRI, the lifeguards, and all of the emergency services, including law enforcement and police, our mission is to reduce the number of drownings, not only around the coastline, but on inland waters as well.
Craig, lastly, the National Sea Rescue Institute does such incredible work, and you're largely reliant on public donations for funding. How have you been managing financially during the COVID-19 pandemic?
So I think it's been difficult for everybody. Obviously, we're very, very fortunate that we've got over 1,000 volunteers dedicated to doing this job. So they don't get paid anything, but we are on alert 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. At this time of the year, we do increase our standby times. More of our volunteers physically stay at the rescue bases, sometimes with their families, because we're obviously balancing our family life, work life, and the actual rescue time that we spend. But we are obviously extremely grateful, and we regard everybody who sponsors or donates to the NSRI as part of our family, and we really say that they are out there with us on the rescue operations, even though they might be tucked up in bed at the time.
And just remind our viewers, Craig, where can people go to donate?
So you can go to our webpage. There's a lot of information on our webpage at www.nsri.org.za, including safety tips, that ID monitor that I spoke about earlier, ways to donate to the NSRI, competitions to be run to raise funds. And we obviously, I think the main emphasis this year is wishing everybody a safe summer season.
Thank you so much. Just for those of you who didn't catch that, www.nsri.org.za. That was NSRI spokesperson Craig Lambinon.